Thanks, listeners, for joining us for Elko Live today. It is a Tuesday in advance of the last regular session of the Elko City Council meeting for 2023. Hard to believe, but it's here. And Elko City Vice Mayor, our Councilwoman Mandy Simons, joins us in studio. Mandy, and thank you so much for being here to bring us up to date.
No, I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, as always. This afternoon's regular meeting opens at 4 o'clock today. And so we'll kind of go over some of the agenda items, see what jumps out, if there's anything from, a most recent session a couple of weeks ago. I know that tops on the agenda is the ongoing public nuisance issue, which, talking to our police chief, Tyler Troughton, a week or so ago, he said, some things are starting to soften, but they're keeping an eye on other things that could be problems.
Yeah, they've been certainly making that one of their priorities. And I think that hopefully the communication between them and the property owners has improved a bit. And so they're trying to work on a couple things. We asked that those who are on site have a background check, and that's done with the police department. And so I think that that's, as far as I know, still the stage that they're in there. And from what I hear from the company most recently is that they are excited to get all the preliminary stuff done so they can actually start on the renovations, which would be a great step, something we're looking forward to. I believe that there was a problem over there that the police did have to take care of, but it seems like an isolated incident and not maybe some ongoing issue that's going to continually come up. And so this might be something that maybe we just need to start visiting when there's a need, maybe not an update. If we go a couple months and everything's running smoothly, then maybe we can take it off the top of the agenda for each meeting and just get updates when there's something that would normally come up with a project like this.
Yeah, that's great news. Good to hear going into the brand new year. And speaking of new year and new plans, and some folks are retiring from the city of Elko, and so you'll have a chance to recognize them and appreciate them.
Sure, yeah. We have Benny Neild, who works in facilities, and then Vicki Cooper, who's from the animal shelter, and they'll both be retiring. And so we're going to present some plaques to them this evening.
I know it's always nice when you can appreciate someone for all the service and the years they've given. And then on the same agenda, I think later on, you'll be able to introduce some new hires, which is always nice too.
Yeah, it's one of the funnest things about City Council is when we have a new hire for any department in the city, they come and they introduce themselves and we get to kind of put a name to a face. And it doesn't mean we all remember all of them, but at least it's nice to get a little glimpse of who the employees are and what they're going to be doing and their background. And so we do have some new hires, a police record technician, Rachel Hooper, and then Stephanie Estrada will be starting over at the animal shelter there.
Oh, very nice. So something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Looking over the consent agenda, speaking of animal shelter, looking at renewing a contract with Elko, between the city and William Bright, Doctor of Veterinary Medicine, for the Elko Animal Shelter services. Yeah,
Dr. Wright has been helping us for such a long time and has given so much to help this community. I mean, what he has done is just invaluable. And so we look forward to go ahead and continuing that agreement. We have, when you look at these spay and neuter numbers, the numbers of animals that we were having at the shelter, 10 years ago or when they started this program versus now, it's just phenomenal. And that's what this program does is when animals are adopted, that it's not going to be adding to the population. And that's what we want. We want animals in homes where they're taken care of and, all these unwanted animals. It's not what our community wants. And so Dr. Wright has been a huge part of that. And we really appreciate him and all he does.
Yeah, and sure appreciate LASSO, which reimburses the city for the fees. That's your local nonprofit, your charitable organization, the local animal shelter support organization.
Yeah, that's a nonprofit that was started several years ago, and that's what they do is they raise money so that they can run this spay and neuter clinic, and it's kind of a collaboration between them and the physicians like Dr. Wright and the city and the shelter, and so that's kind of the vehicle we have for getting those paid for.
All right, so that's on the consent agenda, along with consideration of a consulting agreement between the city and Air Planners, LLC. And they've really been instrumental, haven't they, in helping secure some of the current arrangements we have for commercial air service?
Sure, yeah. So it's we just need to renew the current agreement that we have. And they are trying to help us so that we maintain air service, so that we have a way to finance this guaranteed revenue. They've done this in other communities before, so their assistance really invaluable. Their experience in the airline industry is just outstanding, and they really know the things that we don't. If you're a city planner or on a city council, you don't necessarily know every in and out of the airline industry, and so these gentlemen have shown us so much and really helped guide us through the process. They have contacts throughout the industry and really leverage that on our city's behalf. So we just need to go ahead and renew that.
Yeah, it is a crucial time for the city to do that. This is an agreement that was in place since November of 22, and this proposed agreement would take the city into January 1st of next year. So, but again, it's at a time when you're creating a local nonprofit air alliance. You're including the county because it is a regional airport, Mandy, and really trying to enhance the commercial air service that we have, preserving the SkyWest flights, which are now on those big new jets.
Yeah.
And then maybe adding some more interstate service if it's possible.
I mean, that's the goal, is to keep what we have and then add more. And we've been trying to work with the legislature. Gosh, it's probably been almost a decade. I don't know. But we'd really like more connectivity, not just from our state to Salt Lake, say, but within our state. It would be awesome if at some point we could have better service within, you know, the Reno Carson area and Vegas and here. It's kind of odd when you think about it, because a lot of states have great connectivity within their state, and we don't really have that necessarily. It's really only from Vegas and Reno, and there might be a flight to Carson here and there, but really, yeah, I mean, those legislatures would love it if they could hop on a plane to Vegas and go straight to Carson, and the same here. You know, how great would that be if people could just from Vegas or Carson or Reno just hop on a plane and come straight over? So that is a goal. It's hard to predict. Is that something that will happen in 5 years? Is it something that will happen in 10 years? But that certainly is a goal that we would like to accomplish at some point.
Well, and Mandy, it's good to hear that it's not just an Elko effort, because obviously going into an election cycle and eventual legislative session again, we really need all the support we can get to make those connections.
Yeah, and unfortunately, sometimes things like air service in rural communities, when you're in a legislative session, it doesn't always rise to the top. And so it's something that we have had people working on for several sessions, 4 or 5, well, probably at least 4 sessions that I can think of. And so hopefully it comes to pass at some point soon, but at the very least, we do need to preserve what we have. We certainly don't want that to go away.
All right. And it's probably safe to say we're closer than we've ever been. I mean, you think about it, without having these connecting flights, we're physically isolated. But now that we're able to have these conversations and include more people and air planners doing the work that they are, we can get some traction, you know, behind the scenes with the companies in addition to the lawmakers.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's really what we want the lawmakers to see, is this is not just a request on behalf of Elko. This is really going to benefit the entire state. And we've got, other airports around the state have signed on to be partners with us. They understand that it would be good for everybody.
Good for tourism, too. And talking to Bert Gurr, I mean, they recruited his help in building the latest stadium proposal. And we have all these franchise, NFL, NHL, MLB, all these sports leagues. Boy, I'm proud of myself for remembering those.
I know, you got 3.
Like,
That's awesome.
But can you imagine if we could pile on the tourism from rural Nevada, because you could actually get a flight to Vegas?
Yeah, it would be great. And we remember when we first moved here and we had those casino air flights, and it was really nice to be able to, Mason's parents live in Las Vegas, and just to be able to hop on down, it was very convenient. And so, but the airline industry has changed. And I've said it every time I come on here, this is not an Elko problem. This is something that the whole nation, if you are in a rural community, especially, this is something that you are experiencing. And it's a number of factors. It's not something that Elko can fix on our own, but we do want to be able to say we did everything we could on our part, and then hopefully the rest works out.
Well, I'm glad that you've mentioned that. It's a little bit of a light agenda today, so we were able to talk more in depth about some of these issues, Mandy. And as our Vice Mayor and City Councilwoman, and I've been listening to the series that's on KNCC, the KUNR public radio station this week about maternal health care deserts. And I thought about women like you. I mean, I have just Olivia, and so I was really confident and comfortable with the health care that I got here in Elko. She was born at the old Elko General Hospital.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And I had all 4 of my kids here, and things worked out lovely. But my last baby, I was the ripe old age of 35, and so I did have to go into Salt Lake for just a little bit of testing and things that they don't get here. And so depending on what your pregnancy looks like and what your different healths are as a woman, depending on what that looks like, we might be able to take care of you great. And then there might be some things that you really have to make a drive for. And how great would it be if we had cheap flights that you could just run over to Salt Lake for appointments too, right? And so, it's interesting, but I can't complain about the experiences I had. I actually had some pretty wonderful experiences here locally with my 4 kids, and hopefully, I know a lot of other people have too, but there are some situations that we cannot take care of here.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I had a wonderful experience too with mine. So yeah, so great care in the Elko community, but for half the counties, they have no access whatsoever. So it's wild.
It's interesting that when we, when Mason had passed the bar and we were applying to all these different counties everywhere, we went to Lovelock, and I was, probably 6 or 7 months pregnant at the time. And they said, oh yeah, when you hit 8 months, you'll just go and live in Reno. You'll just go and live in Reno, and that's what they do there. And so that when you have your baby, because we don't deliver babies here, and so that's kind of a big deal to have to uproot your family. And Mason would have had to stay and work, and at the time we didn't have other children, but then what do you do in that situation? And so I'm sure it's a reality for a lot of people.
Yep. So great things about rural life, but then some challenges. So,
Sure.
Yep. Keep it in mind. So air flights are important for all kinds of reasons. As we're checking in with Mandy, our Vice Mayor, in advance of this afternoon's regular council session. Something else that's coming up is talking about the compensation study for the city and the non-represented positions. And I'm not sure if you're getting an actual list at this meeting.
They've updated the list and they want us to look at it. But when we like to every once in a while do some, compare our classification of jobs and what we're paying the different jobs to other communities that are similar to ours, to make sure that we are offering, comparable to what other communities are offering, so that we can attract quality candidates to these positions, and so that our people are getting paid, what other communities similar size and where they're at, that they are fairly compensated. And so we'd just like to look at it, because if you're comparing us to a bunch of communities in another state, that might not be very accurate, or a bunch of communities of different sizes. And it's you just want to make sure that the different areas, the different cities or towns that you're comparing us to are actually comparable. If you compare us to Las Vegas, that's not comparable. We had one study that came out for one of our departments that they wanted to use what the people in Las Vegas were getting paid. Well, that's a different community, and the prices there are different, and the jobs, even though it's the same job title, the duties can differ, and so that's not comparable. And so this is just our opportunity to take a look at that list and make sure it's been tweaked appropriately, so that we can get the most valid numbers possible when we do those studies.
All right, so that'll be up for discussion when the council meets under personnel issues today. Let's see, I hope I'm not skipping around too much. We're moving on to page 5, it looks like. And here we go, Ruby Vista Drive Curb and Gutter Project. Kind of a pricey but necessary, and I guess this is a change order, right, for the project, so the council needs to approve this.
Well, the Ruby Vista Drive Curb and Gutter Project, this is actually our final acceptance for that project. That, for those of you that drive that street, you've seen that there's been over the summer a lot of a lot of work going on out there, and it's completed now in conformance with all the plans and specifications. There were 3 change orders for the project, both additive and deductive, and so that did increase right around $10,000 in the end. But for a project of that size, that's really saying that you came in about where you thought it would be. And I've told many people, I guess before I got on the council, I had no idea what, a little square foot of asphalt cost. Paving parking lots and doing streets and sidewalks, it's one of the most costly things that we do as a city. It's very, very expensive. So when we do projects like that, the price tag is going to be a wee bit hefty. But yeah, they came in pretty much on budget. Just some small tweaks, which when you do projects of this magnitude, that's almost a given. If we have a project without any change orders and it happens to come in under budget, and that's a small miracle for which we are grateful for. But yeah, it really came in. I'm going to call it on budget with just some very small changes, and it was a great project.
And if you actually drive past that Ruby Vista curb gutter project, now you'll see people walking using the sidewalks. And,
and it's really a goal of really all communities. And so one of ours is that you want connectivity for folks. You want them to be able to walk places. And in decades leading up to now, sometimes these requirements were waived. And so you'll walk down a street in some of these neighborhoods and a couple houses will have sidewalk, and then all of a sudden no sidewalk for a block, and then a house with sidewalk. And so we're trying to be a little more consistent so that 30 and 40 years, we can look back and go, okay, everything now has the sidewalks. You can walk around our community, and it's much easier for people and safer for people. So that was part of that project that they were doing, and it turned out great.
Well, and just at the same time in the next year or so, and talking to Dale Johnson, the city's looking at, the lead pipe situation. That's going to be huge, Mandy.
Yeah, I was reading something in the newspaper about how, it really might come to the point where the government says, hey, you're taking it all out. You have this many years and you're replacing it all. And can you imagine what an undertaking?
Yeah.
The cost, I just cannot even imagine. It will take, unless there's some grant money that the government is just deciding to hand out, and I don't know I guess they're just going to start printing money. I don't know, but yeah, it will take literally every dollar we have, every employee, it would be a huge undertaking. So I don't know how that's going to turn out, but it is something that we're looking at. We know that's coming. And something I guess we understand the need that lead pipes can be dangerous. And so as it's needed, we do replace those. But having to kind of pull everything out and replace it kind of all at once or within, a certain number of year period, that's going to be very hard for not just us. That would be in every community type of thing if this legislation passes.
Yeah. So if you are maybe a pending high school graduate and contemplating your career choices, plumbing.
Yes,
plumbing might be
learn
a good
how
one.
to replace lead pipes.
Yes.
You will be needed for several years.
Yes, that will be in demand. Moving on to the agenda, a review and a final drawdown and closeout of a Federal Aviation Administration grant to reconstruct the air carrier terminal apron. This was phase 1. And since you've been on the council, Mandy, I think it's fair to say your fingerprints are all over these projects, right? It's always ongoing.
Sure, yeah. They try to have, they kind of have them planned out for the next several years, and sometimes that list changes. All of a sudden something comes up and it's like, oh no, that needs to move to the top of the list. But yeah, these AIP grants, we have a very small percentage. I want to say it's 6.25. I might have that number wrong, but we have a very small percentage that we have to match, and then the Federal Aviation Administration pays for the rest. And so this is our latest project, and it's all done. That the apron out back there, and so that's done and just ready for approval. And then next year, another grant, another AIP project will come up. And so it's kind of just the way to keep airports, so you don't have to all of a sudden replace everything. They just want you to do a little bit each year and keep everything up in conformance. We've done the runway, we've done apron work before. We've, the different systems that they have out there to help, that do all sorts of things. I don't know what they do. They gauge the weather and the wind and all that kind of stuff. All of that has to be kept up and replaced, and so these grants can really help get some of those projects out of the way.
Speaking of the airport, I didn't want to forget, and it's something fun. I ran into Fernando Vargas at the Parade of Lights, which was downtown on Saturday, and he said Pancho Claus is still coming to the I Don't Know Deli, but the date's changed. It's now going to be Monday, Tuesday, so December 18th, 19th.
Yes, I've heard about this. Yes, Jim Foster was saying that he had not heard of Pancho Claus before, but apparently it's a thing, and he's going to come to I Don't Know. And if you haven't been to I Don't Know, super fun. All their normal food on the menu is great, but then they have these wonderful daily specials. And so if you haven't been in there or you haven't been in there lately, something new all the time. And yeah, they're going to have this cute little fun Christmas activity. And so that would be a great day to go down and try out some things. I love that because they're only open for lunch, so we couldn't go as a family very often. But now we have Fridays off, so it's a perfect day to go over there. And this is, a cute little event that he's got going on.
Oh, that's nice. So Pancho Claus will be accompanied by his cousin, the jolly old Saint Nick. So I guess they've got North and South Poles represented, he was saying.
Yes, that's what they said, yes.
And Pancho's coming in a lowrider, so.
Oh, that I had not heard. Okay, well, there you go. Yeah.
All right.
Shows you how uneducated I have been.
So December 18th and 19th, apparently, those are the dates now for the arrival at the I Don't Know Deli, which is located at the Elko Regional Airport. So good plug for that and for the airport. Let's see, and I did want to mention, because Elko City Arts and Culture Advisory Board is getting a little bit of an update in the bylaws.
Yeah, we just need to change the bylaws. All of our volunteer citizen committees, they have bylaws, how many people are on the board and what constitutes a quorum and different things like that. So they're just going to review those and make some little tweaks to that.
And that should be helpful going into the new year because there's a heavy lift coming up.
Yeah.
With the We the People.
We the People project, and I'll say it wrong every time. It starts with an S and ends with quintennial. Sester, Sessa, something. But we're making this big, kind of think Hollywood sign. It's going to say We the People. And so we've been just chipping away at that project. Lots of people have come forward and said, hey, we'd like to volunteer engineering, or we can donate this, or and then other people have donated money already, and we're going to continue with that. We want to get everybody involved. We want to go into the schools and give students an opportunity to, go home and earn $1 and donate it. We really want it to be for the whole community because it's not just the city's anniversary. This is for our nation. So we would love to have everybody involved and make it a project we can all be proud of. And that's just coming up in a very short time.
Yeah, $400,000 to raise.
Yeah. It's going to be a heavy lift, but we, and the problem is we have people who can't make every meeting. And so in order to have a quorum, we just wanted to make sure that the numbers reflected and made it so that we can conduct business each and every time, because there are things that we really need to get done.
Yes. So the folks who are interested in City of Elko Arts and Culture Advisory Board, the bylaws are up for a little bit of tweaking. I mean, I was reading, I don't see anything really.
Nothing major.
It didn't look major. Nope. I think it also tightens the number of meetings you need to attend to be on the board.
Yeah. If you can just never attend, it's not that we don't love you dearly, but we just want people whose schedule allows them to show up and help us make these decisions and accomplish these things.
All right. So that'll be up for discussion. I think the bylaws, the revisions have been proposed and they'll be presented during this afternoon's regular council meeting.
Yep.
So anyone who wants to weigh in on that, that's also on the agenda today. Let's see, getting close to the end of the meeting, I want to make sure, usually I staple the agenda so I don't lose track of everything, but what else is jumping out? Anything I guess Nevada Gold Mines is leasing a parking lot at the airport?
Well, they needed some more parking, and we typically don't have the parking lot at the airport completely full, and so they lease some of those spaces for their vehicles, and it works out for everybody. If we get revenue in places that we wouldn't normally have used, and they get the extra space that they need. So that's kind of a win-win for everyone. And then we are trying to get going on the Cattle Drive Waterline project, and it was going to be in conjunction. It was going to be a bigger scope, and we've kind of limited the scope, which we often have to do because sometimes the money's just not quite there. And so we're just going to do part of it. And as they got to looking at that, they realized that if we had done everything we wanted some things would have worked out differently and we need more fill material and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so they were going to come back to us with a change order, but I just talked to Dale this morning, and I think that they're going to put that, they're going to table that for another meeting because there might be a couple more little changes that they need to make before they actually go forward on the project. So they're just going to have the council look at all of those together. So I think that we'll probably table that item and look at it at our meeting in January.
All right. So hopefully a little more, as you said, evolves for that project, because it is huge to the development of exit 298 area, right? Or North 5th Street, I guess.
Well, yeah,
north of Elko.
We're working very hard on just getting that area between Elko and Spring Creek. We need the water line, of course. We want there to be another route so that the Lamoille is not the only street out there,
Lamoille Highway.
Yeah,
right?
Lamoille Highway. Mm-hmm. I kept wanting to call it Lamoille Street, and I knew in my head that was not right. It's the Lamoille Highway, and so just a lot of thought and work is going into that area over there, and this is one project that we've decided to go forward with. Again, we did have to limit the scope, and we've done budget engineering. Can we leave this out? Is that something we can do later, or can we change things so that certain things aren't needed? Because it just needs to be done, and sometimes you shoot for the moon and then you have to dial it back again.
Yep. According to this agenda item, it says the project is constructing a water line and road from Tamarack Road to the existing road constructed to exit 298 in 2016. So it's been a project for a while.
For a long time. Yeah. And that's often the way it is with these big projects. Is you might just have the money to do a little engineering here and a little of this there, and then bit by bit, you get to the point where you can actually go out to bid.
All right. It's about a $200,000 change, but again, the city was given some relief with ARP money, and that money may be winding down or winding up, however you look at it. It's certainly been budgeted, though, and set aside for these projects. Infrastructure.
Yeah. And so that really is the way that we were able to do anything on this project. At this point, at least, it would have taken us longer to kind of save up for it.
Well, great. With the time we have left to fill, I think we kind of jumped over the agenda. Do you think we covered that?
Yeah,
That's
I think that we've covered it. I do want to just say that we appreciate everybody who helped make the Snowflake Festival happen. It was a super great event. A lot of people are involved, and a lot of people just go down for it's just part of their Christmas ritual. They like to go down there, and it turned out great, and so we appreciate all the work that was put into that.
It was nice, and thanks to the Corliers for lending their talents. This is a busy month for you, Mandy.
They have over 30 appointments within like 18 days, and so sometimes 4 in a day. And so we appreciate them and all the other groups that go around just spreading Christmas cheer. It's kind of awesome to live in a community that has all these groups that do that. And
handbells.
That's the other one I was thinking of. The handbells are always awesome. You want to hear those at least once during December. It kind of makes your Christmas. And so we appreciate everything that they do. And the Corler concert's coming up on Monday at 7. I know I had a text yesterday saying, when is that? And that's this coming Monday at 7 p.m., free to the public if anybody wants to do that. If that is part of your Christmas tradition to attend that's when that is. And, just our community's great. And they have all these wonderful traditions and groups that really make it feel like Christmas.
Yeah, it does. And we've even had a little bit of snow here and there.
I know. It's always nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'll help spur the spirit of the season too. Pioneer Christmas is Saturday, California Trail Center.
Oh, that's right, the California Trail Center. We were just looking at that from 9 to 2. So that will be a fun event if you can make it out to that. They have lots of activities and crafts and snacks, it says. And then let's see. I'll just go through your.
Oh, sure.
You've just printed all these things. Let me just be the official announcer for a moment.
I love it.
Free movie. I know. I'm going to take your job, basically.
Thank you.
The Elko Convention Center is going to have a free movie on December 15th. They're going to play, it's called The Flight Before Christmas. It looks cute. It's got a reindeer in it. I don't know. I'm just looking at the picture and it looks super sweet. It says, come see Santa and Mrs. Claus before the movie. So the doors open at 5:30 p.m. and the movie starts at 6. And again, that's free. And then also over at Fish, they have 4 different food programs throughout the month. And so if that's something that you might be in a position to need, they have the food pantry hours are Monday and Thursday, 9 to 1, and Tuesday, 9 to noon. That's over on Water Street, 821 Water Street. What else? What else can I announce?
You
to
are
your sweet
great.
public?
So tomorrow I'm going to have you come in and host. Give the listeners a break.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
I'm
Mandy.
sure they
Thank
would
you.
be begging to have you back.
No, I really appreciate it. And I'm glad that you mentioned the fish. They're serving hundreds of people.
Mm-hmm.
So when you talk about, we do have a generous community, and we are working hard to make sure that families don't go without, not only the holiday season, but year round.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. So, yep. So, well, Mandy, thank you. Have a terrific city council meeting this afternoon.
Yeah, it's going to be, I don't know, joyful, but it'll be great. We love hearing from the public and serving and doing whatever we can to help.
And it's a brand new shiny year, just weeks away. I mean, this is the last city council meeting for the year for 2023.
Yeah, that's it. So if I don't see everybody, Merry Christmas.
Merry
and
Christmas.
A Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too, our Elko City Vice Mayor, City Councilwoman Mandy Simons, and of course the piano player extraordinaire. I guess we call you accompanist.
Yes, let's not use the word extraordinary. That's kind of setting the bar a little bit high.
Come on now, you do a beautiful job. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, all you want is a hippopotamus for Christmas.
Amen.
Thank you, listeners, for joining us for Elko Live today here on KELK.